And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Scalawag. It has this kind of old woodcut type art on it. It's a pirate game. And this is a game about bluffing. It's a pirate game, but you're trying to bluff other people pretty much the whole game. It's a very simple game with some player elimination, but very short, so that's not a big deal. Here we go. The game comes with a lot of these. These are compass points, and these are used, well, these are compass points, these are damage points, and these are used over the course of the game. Each player is going to get a ship, and the ship has a flag which shows who you are. It doesn't really matter. If you would like to play in teams, then you pick some nationality cards, you find pairs of them, and you pass those out to the different players, and then you spend a moment like secretly saying, okay, English people look at each other, Spanish people look at each other, pirate players look at each other, so people know who's on what team. Each player is going to get 3 crew cards randomly dealt to them, and there's different types of crew cards. On a player's turn, then, they will give 1 captain's order, and then they will take 2 compass points. Okay? It's very simple. Now, a player can give whatever order that they can do or afford based on how many compass points that they have, but they can also use crew cards to supplement one of their things. So I could say I'm doing a certain action and I'm using 2 gunners that I have in my hand. The thing is, you do not have to show that you have these cards. You just say that you have them. Someone else can call you out on that. They can say Scalawag. And if you are correct that you do have the cards, then that person's in trouble. And if they are correct and you don't have the cards, and you've been caught in a lie, and you're in trouble. Now, one of the ways you can be in trouble is simply to take a damage. When your ship is completely damaged, well, then you're dead. Another way is to discard one of the 3 crew cards in your hand, and therefore you are that much closer to losing, because when you have to discard your last crew card, you've lost the game. So what are the captain's orders that you can take? Well, one of them is simply trimming the sails. Take an extra compass point in your turn. But for each sailor that you say you have, so I can say, oh, I have 2 sailors, I actually get 3, and then I get my 2 at the end of the turn, so I got 5 compass points that turn. So sailors can be used to take extra compass points when you trim the sails. You can attack another player using a gunner. It costs 5 compass points to attack an adjacent player and 8 compass points to attack anybody else. You can attack without a gunner, actually, I apologize, but each gunner that you declare that you have reduces the cost of you attacking somebody. When you attack someone, you simply will do 1 damage to their ship. Even better than that is to close and board somebody. When you close and board someone, you must pay the number on their highest non-damaged ship part. So it costs 10 normally, but if they've been damaged, then it will only cost 8. When you close and board someone, they have to lose one of their crew cards, and so they have to give that crew card to an adjacent player, who then has to discard down to 3. And for each marine that you have, you reduce the cost of closing and boarding somebody. You can steal 2 compass points from another player, but you can only do that if you have the pilot. Okay, a pilot also lets you fire your cannons twice, as long as you have the compass points to attack both of them, and you have to say that you have it. There's also another card called the Lookout. When you fire the cannons, you basically are adjacent to all the players. You can do a mutiny. Of course, for that you need a mutineer. By the way, the number of these cards that are in the game are determined by the number of players. And each player has 3, but there's also a pile out in the middle. But anyway, the mutineer lets you steal 2 crew cards from another player. Then they'll replace those cards from the port, which is in the middle of the table. And then on watch, you can just say I'm on watch by having a lookout. And for a player to attack you, they have to spend 2 extra compass points. Of course, you have to have a lookout for that to work. Or at least say you have a lookout. And then, of course, you can always go into the middle and muster crew. Draw cards from this port area and then replace them with cards from your hand. Or not replace them, it's up to you. Now the game comes with 2 extra bonus crew cards, the Black Spot and the Rogue Wave. These start the game in the port, so the only way to get them is here, and when you use one, you replace it with a crew card. The Rogue Wave, you play another player, and on their turn they basically lose a turn. And the Black Spot, when you play that on a player, all attacks are 2 less for as long as that person has the Black Spot. So this is going to continue on. When you destroy someone else's ship, you'll get a prize of war, depending on how you destroyed it, whether you did it with damage or made them lose their last crew card. And then you continue to go till there's only 1 player left, or in a team till there's only 1 team left. Now, Scalawag probably has some mechanisms that you probably have not seen before, unless you've played the game Coup. This is most definitely there's a popular game called Coup out there, which has the same take an action, say you have somebody mechanism that this game also has. This takes Coup though and adds some more mechanisms to it. Coup's a very short, simple little game. This has a little bit more going on for it. Is that good or bad? Well, let's start talking about the bad first of this game. The bad, I would say, is the teams where you each have a teammate. That's just a really bad way to play the game. I have yet to see that work well, because the teammates who happen to sit next to each other have such a huge advantage over everyone else. Also, everybody knows what team everyone is on after about 4 turns. It's not like the secret team really matters that much. It's better to play every man for himself. That can be problematic for some people because, you can gang up against someone. This is kind of the modern era take that game. Now, I do like the bluffing aspect of it, and I love being able to shuffle the cards with the middle, and I say, oh, I got 3 sailors, I'm taking all these coins. Someone's like, you really have 3? Yeah, I have 3. And then they have to decide whether to call me out on it or not. Now, calling somebody out on something is not as dangerous as it was in like Coup, where you could lose the game. Here, you have a lot of chances, but still you have to kind of weigh it out, because you don't want to go down in numbers, because once you get weakened, it's easy for the other players to quickly take you out. This game is a nice package. I like the artwork. It looks good. It's easy to play, and it goes up to 8 players, which is not a big deal. Playing 8 players is fine, again, as long as you don't play in the teams, just playing all over the place. Adding in those 2 extra cards, I think, adds some fun to it. Normally, I'm not a big fan of you lose your turn, but the fact that you have to go into the pile in the middle, get that card, play it on someone else, and then it goes back in the middle, so you can't just keep playing that card over and over again. So it's a powerful card, but you have to waste your turn going for it. And I think that's an interesting way. That's an interesting addition. In fact, I wouldn't mind if there had been maybe a few more of those special cards that were included in the game. So Scalawag, I'd hesitate to call this game great, and it lacks the charm that Coup had, maybe, but it does have the pirate theme to it. It does have some straight-up attacking other players, which is kind of fun and cool. So if you're looking for a game like that with bluffing that goes up to 8 players, this certainly is a good quality one and a good game.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.